Hey, welcome to the Project Fit podcast, episode 24. We're really building them up now, and I'm delighted to have Gillian Davies back again because we've been talking about various topics, via Facebook and stuff like that. And because we help similar people, I thought I'd have Gillian back on to rap about some of the things that are really, you did such a good job last time as well. So I think we should, I thought we just, come back on and start talking about some of the things that are really challenging with our clients. So I'm just going to say insulin and welcome on board again. Welcome on the show again. I'm not going to say sugar and insulin. That's it.
Yeah, definitely are. Over the last couple of weeks, have been come to the forefront again, hasn't it? Already. So, and well, thanks for having me back on, Greg. Yeah, I just before I get into it,
I could tell that you're like, I really want to just let loose. I'm going to try. Great time you back again.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, like you said, we could have gone anywhere in the last one. So, definitely insulin and like I said, sugar's getting a bad rap again, and I see it a lot. I hear it a lot as well about how sugar has been demonized. It's addictive. It's addictive and people have problems and it's been demonized and I just I have been there. I'll put my hands up. I've been there. I've gone through you have to be clean this and everything, and it can't be processed in any way. And whether you get your sugar from maple syrup or honey or from any other forms, it still has the same effect in your body. It's still gonna have the same impact. It's still gonna have the same insulin effect as well in your body, and there's no getting away from that. So I think there is. I think we can know too much and we go into too much detail and we kind of look for the kind of holy grail, I suppose, almost to answer some of these questions, and it really isn't necessary. Certainly, if you're looking into weight loss and that, Greg. So
I think one of the things that strikes me is I was talking to a friend of mine. He's a very clever, very, very clever boy, but he was saying the same thing, that we kind of go around in circles with all these diets. Like you said, you talked about clean eating. I've been there, done that. I've done paleo. I've done no carb, and you just find that they just all come in a big circle. And all of a sudden now we're now writing off. I mean, I can't remember when calories were, discovered and how we came to measure energy from it. But all of a sudden we've now gone, don't worry about counting calories, just worry about your sugar. But I've seen plenty of clients come to me who are eating too many avocados because there's lots of fat in avocados and it's very calorific, but they can't understand why they're not losing weight. So I think my perspective at the minute is, we know that calories is not like a perfect measurement. However, it's the damn closest thing we have, and we know that energy, you can't get fat by having no energy coming in. It just doesn't make sense. There's no, it just no. So whether it's sugar, calories, or it's still the same thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, and you're totally right. You're totally right. Like it's the first and foremost point. It's just the law of thermodynamics is there. You can't change that. You can't disregard science because it doesn't fit what you believe. It's like, get rid of all the beliefs and everything else, and the science will still be the science. So and that's kind of where that's where I come from. Science backgrounds. That's what you believe. You prove what you're saying.
You have to have data and something to back it up, and it needs to be able to be, repeatable, doesn't it? So that's the same thing. Hi to my son in the background there, by the way. See, typical teenager. So For anyone watching, that was my son just walked in. So, but I think you touched on a really good point there about beliefs. And I think what's happened is that nutrition has become so belief driven rather than science driven. And I don't know if you've experienced that of late.
Yeah, well, it even comes down to simple things that you know, in order to be healthy, you have to get rid of all junk food, you know, and and healthy is it's almost like saying that you have to only eat, you know, fruits and veg and natural foods. Yeah, you do need a good proportion of the time, but you can also eat other things, and it's just trying to find how that fits for people, I think, as well. That comes down to that belief, you know, or belief around about yeah, good foods or bad foods, or what's right or wrong foods. It can even just start from there, really, on what you.
And you mentioned about, we were talking before, you talked about a client who had this kind of challenge. Is that right? You were talking about someone?
Yeah, and it was quite a surprise to me, because I just so just to give context, I had worked with someone recently who wanted some help with meals, and she was just really not sure how to structure her meal plans and things like that there. So I did some work, and I helped her, and I kind of broke it down and give her like 3 options of like a day, and basically a menu for her. And I do it looking at her, what is it she wants to achieve, you know. So, you know, is she in a weight loss? Does she want to, you know, reduce her waist size, whatever it is, and it usually is, most of the time. And I look at her calories, I look at her activity, and I kind of develop some food and meal plans around that with the foods that she wants to enjoy, and show her how to build that flexibility into her day. And now she was quite surprised that I had things like chocolate in there. I know she liked to have a glass of wine, so if it came to the weekend, she wanted to have it, you know, I'm not saying the weekend, she can have it during the week if she wants, but if she wanted to have that, how to actually make those things fit in. When the whole basis is always, you know, it's predominantly, once you have accounted for, you know, good protein intake and fruits and vegetables, and obviously carbohydrates, and a good fat intake, then you can start to see where you can have that flexibility in your diet. And she was someone who has been on various different slimming clubs and things like that before, so I know she's got a long history of that. And so and she was quite surprised that I had things like chocolate and that in the meal plans, and I was like, well, but that's how you'll enjoy your diet. You know, you need to be able to adhere to it. It's no point in me going in there with any sort of rules telling you what to do if you're thinking, I don't want to do that. So
Amen.
Yeah, but that's the key, is to find that adherence level. So what can you do, or what you want to do, and what will you eat, and how do you actually want to create your healthy diet, if you like. I always talk about a healthy diet, and a healthy diet is one that makes you feel good, and also that you have a good relationship with, you know, that you will enjoy it.
Well, like you said, it's mental health as well as the physical. So I think if your diet doesn't allow you to go out with your friends and have a meal, then is that healthy? I would argue no. So, but I think that I don't know where this happened, but obviously sometime in the 70s probably, because of the bodybuilders, because all they had was chicken, broccoli, and rice. It kind of made this thing that if you're a fitness nutrition professional, you had to just clean eat.
Yeah.
So when they see us out having sugar, they're like, "Oh my God, you can't eat that," or as you said, you can't put it. And I think people need to just remember, we're people too.
Yeah.
And it's like we eat chocolate, people.
Yeah.
But I think people think that we just like only eat vegetables all day. But
go from my house to the gym and back again every day.
Yeah, that's yeah, crazy. So, and I think one of the things that I think we need to be very mindful of is, I think here's why I think the issue is, because foods, so like chocolate, pizza, ice cream, has always been demonized as bad, that they're not allowed But actually, really, what we're saying is, well, you might want to have a bit less of those high calorie foods in exchange for some lower calorie foods.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to quit it totally. And I think it just leads to all sorts of mindset issues when people have this good and bad thing in their mind about food and nutrition. I tell my clients, there's no such thing as good and bad. Like, get out of your head.
Yeah.
But it's hard, I think, for people to do it. So yeah, I think that's the big issue, is getting that good and bad thing out of your head for people, and to say, look, like you say, you can eat well, lose weight, be healthy, and you can have a Snickers now and again. Like, the insulin demon is not going to come and make you sick. But I think the problem is then you get people who have got really good authority, or get people that believe what they say, which I'm not saying they're lying, by the way, but you can very easily influence people and get them to be like, sugar is the devil.
Yeah.
When we know that most sugars pretty much have the same chemical formula.
Yeah.
And that's the real big one for me. I think it's that sometimes I think there's a bit of the placebo effect with these kind of things. So yeah. All right, we killed sugar.
We killed sugar.
Nice. But one more thing that did just come to my mind actually was, so the UK is getting fatter, but I've noticed that there's more chicken shops on high streets. I mean, I don't know obviously where you live, but obviously I live kind of northwest London, and I've counted there are 8 or 9 chicken shops on my high street, which is mental.
Really?
Yeah, fried chicken. So like you start off the hill in a posh bit of Harrowfield, you come down into Wilston where I live, and there's literally KFC, you name it, there's a chicken shop like it, and there's no sugar in that, but that's highly calorific. Uber Eats is another one that I think, or be able to just go on your phone now and go, oh, I'll order a very high calorie meal, but there's no sugar in those meals because they're often pizza, Chinese, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sugar gets the blame for the world's problems.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna stop ranting about sugar now. People, I think the message is, correct me if I'm wrong, Gillian, it's like, if you have a diabetic condition, then yeah, you might want to look at your sugar intake. Honey versus sugar, much of a muchness. Chill out. Sugar comes in various forms. It's even in your broccoli, people. Broccoli has sugar. Anything that comes from a plant is a sugar. Yeah. So chill out, people. Seriously, like, stop blaming sugar. But that's the thing. In a couple of years' time, it will be sugar's okay. It'll be fats again.
Yeah.
So, and everyone's doing keto at a minute.
Well, it's like the danger is in the dosage, isn't it? So if you having a little bit of anything, and it always goes back to what your grandma used to say, was the moderation is key. Everything in moderation, and it is, and it's just some people's moderation is more tolerable to them than other people's.
Yeah.
So it's like so yeah. So whilst having some sugary foods once a week or whatever, or once in a blue moon, is not going to do anything. Having it 2 or 3 times a day probably will.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, if you've got a sugar addiction, of course.
Yeah.
But we're hearing more about things like sugar addiction and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, unless you're robbing people on the street to pay for your next hit of sugar, then I don't think you've quite got an addiction. You just like it very much, I think is the thing. I don't think we're not kind of stuffing handfuls of sugar in our faces. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that was one thing that we kind of mentioned as well, was the actual, what we call sugary foods are not just sugar. They're sugar and, well, I say glucose really is the proper name, shall I say, for sugar, but it's fats as well in there. So there's the combination of the two that actually make them taste really amazing. That's why we like cakes. So and things like chocolate. So it's not, you wouldn't sit with if you had a big bowl of table sugar or sugar cubes, you wouldn't sit and work your way through them on their own.
Although when I was younger,
yeah, you probably did.
True story. So mum used to make me make the cake mix on a Sunday, right, on a Saturday afternoon or whatever. And you get the eggs, the sugar, and the butter. And I used to mix it up, and it was like I don't know, I used to lick it all the time.
Oh god, yeah, everyone had to do that. You got to lick the bowl and stuff. Yeah, totally. But it was the most amazing thing. But that was the combination, wasn't it? It wasn't just sugar; it was sugar and fat, and then you had the eggs in there as well. So
yeah, well, exactly that. The butter is the bit that holds it all together, and that's what makes it taste awesome. And we just forget. We just forget that. It's mental.
Yeah. So if you want like real sugary foods, your fruit or sugary, they're predominantly just actual glucose, if you like, sugar, but it's sugar in a more complex form because you've got,
but it's
fibers and things.
It's natural sugars, so it's okay.
Yeah, your body cannot tell between manufactured or natural sugar. It can't tell the difference.
I know and that's the thing I think we need to just be wary of. Obviously, we know that with fruit often you get things like fiber and there's going to be more water in it, etc. But the fructose and the sucrose is still sugar.
Yeah.
Like your body's going to produce insulin either way. And insulin is like, if you don't have it, you die.
Yeah. You need it.
I don't understand why we're trying to dampen down this natural response. I don't understand. Yeah. Look, I know that you can't oxidize fat. I'm going to be a geek here quickly. You can't oxidize fat in the presence of insulin. But
that's because it switches it off. So that's what it's meant to do.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, it's doing its job.
Yeah, totally.
Oh dear. Right, and breathe. I think that's the thing. I think that's the challenge that we face as, pretty much in the main science-based, evidence-based practitioners of what we do. Is, like you say, people have got their beliefs. People want a scapegoat for all of their issues. I'm not saying there's a one-size-fits-all all the time, because we know there's examples where people, take something out and it seems to work really well for them. Get that? Yeah. But on the whole, for 99.9% of the population, this will work. Just rate your food. So why do you think nutrition has to be so extreme?
I think sometimes people want to overcomplicate it because it's almost like then there's no solution for them, and they're one of the special people that it doesn't work for. So it's maybe, I'm getting a bit deep here, but maybe it gives them significance in some way that that doesn't work for me. I'm different, So
I've tried that. I've tried calorie counting. It never works for me.
Yeah,
and that's a tool. That's a tool like any other, intermittent fasting and all that stuff. It's all tools that we have in our arsenal to.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, I think people, it's almost like it needs to be extreme.
Yeah, maybe it's the adrenaline junkie in them or something like that. I don't know. Hedonistic in some ways.
But maybe as well with the people that we work with, I do find there's a tendency generally, and this is not being sexist, any ladies listen to this, in women to be all or nothing. So not hard, fast, and extreme. Like, well, that's not going to do anything for me. It's got to change. Is that what you found?
I have found that a lot. Predominantly because it has always been. It's either this kind of you're all in, you're on a diet, off a diet sort of mentality, basically, and that's what I think it comes down to. It's you have to be on it, but then by being on a diet, you're implying that you're going to come off it at some point, and that has never been managed, I don't think, in a way. So I think it's that over years of repetition of that there that it kind of feels like that's how it plays out all the time. So they have to go through that. You have to be on it or off it type of thing. So it's an all or nothing.
Often, I guess you get some success with your diet, so therefore you think, well, while I'm on it, it works. so therefore you associate it with being a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it working, and you're like, well, but how it's maintaining it as well. So it's like, if you're doing something that you can't wait to stop, then you probably shouldn't be doing it in the first place. So
I like that. I like it. I'm stealing that one. If it's something you don't like doing, then why are you bloody well doing it in the first place?
Yeah. So if you
good.
can't wait to finish it, you can't wait to stop it, then either you're not getting anything out of it, or it's just not the right thing for you. But yeah, so that's usually why I find that it's kind of that all or nothing, really. And it's also, set up, oh, I have to get in shape, therefore I have to deprive myself. It's meant to be tough. No one said it's easy. So you go in, you're almost like preparing yourself for battle, I suppose, in a way. It's got to be deprivation, it's got to be, all these things, sacrifice, it's got to be, and it's, yeah. So I suppose it just kind of lends itself to going with this. You have to be 100% or nothing. So
I wonder if that's the fault of the fitness industry, though. I feel like especially when I started out, everything was all about you burn this many calories in a workout, and it smashed your body into pieces so you couldn't walk and all that stuff. And I guess from my point of view, I want people to feel better, not be broken all the time. I try to make you, not break you.
yeah.
I don't know, maybe that's just something you've seen over the years, and body battle. Like I posted a while ago going, why does every workout program seem to be like this big battle and a big fight with yourself?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's just marketing. It goes into that, and it's high intensity, and it's insanity, and it's all these other words that you have to, and the word tough, like I did insanity for, oh wow, that was tough. But I suppose there's a time when people want to do that. There's a time when I certainly don't want to train like that anymore.
Yeah.
And maybe on the odd occasion, but I probably was more bought into it when I was younger than when I am now. And I suppose that's just the time, really. It's maybe it just appeals to different people at different ages. And
yeah, it's weird. I think just as I'm finding as well, because obviously I've got a background in kind of Chinese martial arts and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to encourage people to do less exercise, like less formal exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because a lot of my online clients get really awesome results. And when I set their programs up, and I don't care who listens to this is the honest truth. My online clients, they get all these fantastic workouts I put together, a great training program, and they never effing do it. But
yeah,
they get awesome results. I'm like, so I guess
right.
tells us a big thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is that what you see with your clients?
Mostly diet. Mostly diet, accountability. It usually is just being consistent with whatever you choose to do. Most of the time, if you're stopping and starting and changing things as you go, you never really know what's working anymore. So you don't stick with it long enough. One thing, because either it gets boring or you get impatient and you want to speed things up, those sorts of things happen. And it's very hard to just kind of not be tempted by that to change things. Because I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
The other week I was on, and this is about me actually, the show about patience that I was on. I was doing a workout and I was on a treadmill, and I wanted to do just a steady state, nice and steady, to a 10-minute one on a treadmill. And this is the temptation in me, was to just keep notching it up, and just get faster and faster. I still had to run for the 10 minutes, but I wanted to keep pushing myself harder and harder, instead of just trying to keep it steady at a nice steady state for the whole time. And that's essentially what it's like. It's like it's that temptation just to, I want to push this a little bit more. I want to do a little bit more. Oh, something needs to change, or it's impatience creeping in, really, and just not being able to just see it through. So I kind of liken it to that, And
it's like we can't just be comfortable and just do what we need to do. And I guess it all leads back to that all or nothing. Because I think one of my clients, she mentioned this before. She was just saying, she's been with me for like 3-4 years. She's got awesome results. But she's always asking, like, how do you stay motivated? I'm like, there isn't really a motivation switch. It's kind of I've exercised since I was about 12. I've always done some form of sports, and now I just do it. It's just, but like you, I have days where I'm like, I cannot be bothered. But I know that if I get in the gym or do something 2 or 3 times a week, I feel better. So I just do it, and it's part of my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And we all have days like that. So how do you manage that with your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just I think it is just to, it kind of comes down to the individual. Sometimes you've got to figure out the person, whether it's something that they're always going to say or whether they're genuinely tired and need to cut themselves some slack. So it depends how often you hear coming up with that person, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just it's periodically, and then I'd be like, well,
yeah,
have a break.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we all have it. It's just it's just human impatience gene, but I think that society as a whole is a big thing. So I know that you're very focused on habits and building habits. That's very similar to me, I guess. So tell me what that is for you and how that works.
So with the habits, I think as well, whenever I start with anyone, they have because of the history probably that they've been on and off diets and things like that, they think that when they're starting, they have to kind of prepare themselves to go and basically overhaul everything that they do, and they have to be prepared to completely change everything, and it doesn't actually have to be that way. And now, again, it's this is coming down to years of experience in doing this and getting to the point going, actually, you just need to follow through on the things, on a few things at a time, and just kind of build it up. And that's how even, with any of my programs and that, I start off with like little, get things, the simple things in order. So it could be like drinking at least 2 liters of water, but just do that it's not difficult to do that. It's not something that's going to take up hours of your day, but by creating that little habit and just by creating those little things, and then you start to build on that, and then you start to look at other things. So, getting people to, I like to do gratitude in mine. I like to do things for mindset and actually putting people in a positive place as well. And that's one key area that I cover as well. So doing gratitude posts, so writing a sentence every morning, 1 sentence. That's 2 minutes,
Yeah.
It can be difficult for people because they're not used to doing it, and they think they feel weird, and it triggers them in all sorts of ways actually doing. Yeah. Some people love it. Some people are like, this is really weird. So always start with some of those little things, and by creating that and by starting that, and then like doing things as well, I like to use my fitness pal with my clients and getting them to actually use that as a food diary. Now I don't expect them to use the algorithm and everything else in it, but I like them to use it as a food diary, get some information, but get used to just logging it. Don't worry about numbers or whatever, anything else in it. Just use it and start to actually have a physical representation of what you're eating and what your nutrition looks like. You could use a pen and paper to do the exact same, but
Yeah,
I'm in the digital world now, so come on. Let's be digital with it.
It's not the Flintstones anymore, so come on.
Yeah. But again, it's just getting them into the habit of actually logging it, not to start analysing, but what you're doing is just actually getting that awareness of and building up the picture of what their reality is right now. So, and that actually opens up a lot of kind of possibilities, and they start to see things slightly differently. So, and those sorts of things. So it's just breaking down. So it's not saying I want you to go in and record every single meal that you eat every single day for the next 12 weeks. Yeah. People will be like, whoa, oh my God. So break it right down for them. Break it right down.
But that's the weird thing. So I'm very similar to you. I'll be like, right, this week I want you to go for a walk and track your food.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? I'm like, yeah. Can you do that? Yeah, awesome. But then they're almost going, I want more. There needs to be something. What's the next thing? And I'm going, hang on a minute. You just told me you didn't have time to do all this stuff. So the human brain is a real
Yeah.
fucker. Hey, I'm going to swear. It's my podcast.
Yeah.
I don't care. People are weird, right?
Yeah, I see. And I think that's the expectation that you're going in, and it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. This is going to be tough, and I've got to really hustle for it. And it's that mentality that comes into it. And so whenever you go a bit more slow and easy, then it's like, what do you mean that's it?
Like what?
Not like going, but the results come from being consistent. So if you can do the simple things consistently, then you can do the other things. That's laying the foundations there. So,
well, it's. I mean, I'm a parent, and and look, you would have seen this. That you see people go, little Johnny. If you're consistent and you work hard, the results will come. Oh, can I lose all that weight in 6 weeks?
Yeah.
You see it all the time. They're like, see, what happened? What was that about? It's crazy. People are crazy.
Yeah, and I spoke about that recently, actually, why the weight loss is an outcome, and it's not actually the goal. The goal is the habits to get to that outcome. I can't tell anyone, right, give them a prescription, take this, and then you'll lose 7 pounds or whatever, or 10 pounds, 20 pounds. You can't do that. Your body does not work in that way, and it will not do that. So, because there's so many variables that go into how the body is and how it responds. So, yes, you can put people through your program and your process, and you will see the results, because people will get similar results all the time. So then you can say, right, now I know that that's one of the outcomes, but there's many outcomes that come from working with it, but that's one of them. And that's why you can say, by doing this, people can lose 7 pounds, but it's an outcome. It's not actually the goal. If you focus that on being your goal, you will probably get so fixated on it that you will start to do sort of crazy desperate things just to reach that goal.
Oh yes, hell yeah. I think and that's the difference, I think, between the intrinsic motivation and the extrinsic motivation, because I think the problem is obviously to pull people to work with us. Just being honest, people, if you're listening to this, you're going to give away our secrets. You have to give them that extrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
But then when they work with us, we then really dig into why, how's it going to make them feel, etc. And that's the intrinsic, and that's the important motivation. I don't know how you work that with your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's come from that's relation, as part of the relationship building and things like that as well. So, it's kind of, you work with someone and you get them, and you're coming to you, and it is usually for weight loss, and you get them those results first of all, because that then gives you, that they get that trust in you and believe that you're the person that can help them do that as well. So by doing that, and then from there, hopefully if you get the chance to keep continuing working with them, then it'll develop into other things as well. So more performance goals, whether they want to get stronger for running, whatever it is, it'll always then develop and evolve basically into something else. So.
Awesome.
You froze up, Greg, but
can you hear me, by the way? Because
I can hear you. But
okay, awesome. Yeah, it's kind of frozen, I think. No, we're back again. There we go. We're back again. So we've actually done another 38-minute podcast again. I don't even know how that happened. I just looked at the time and gone, sugar already. So is there any final words that you want to leave with? And obviously we're going to have to do a part 3. Maybe we just need to call this the Gillian and Greg podcast. I'll just do it. Just do that if you want.
just really it does, like that. I think the one key thing was to say that if there is any sort of person that wants to start doing health and fitness, is not to go in preparing yourself for battle. It doesn't have to be a battle. For it to be a lifestyle and be a long-term thing, it's got to be more feel good for you than that. So, and if by, that requires extra support for you, then yeah, absolutely. There's plenty of people around, and including us too, that can support people to do that. But you do always need to consider it. If what you're doing, you don't see yourself doing it in a year's time, then it's probably not the right thing for you either right now or ever.
Yeah.
It needs to change in some way. So, and that's when it's long term. So that's why I always look at the long term.
Well, I think that's the thing. We're here to change people's lives, not just kind of get them into a dress. Like I said, that's an outcome. But we are here to change your lives, not just a 6-week plan kind of thing. So yeah, awesome. So
and like how it's changed ours.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get you back on for a part 3.
Okay.
At some point, if you're happy with that, I'd love to have you back on.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good, Greg.
Let's do it. And just remind people where they can find you, so they can hear your content and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am mostly on Facebook. You'll find me either Gillian Davis or Gillian Davis Coach, and LinkedIn is my other kind of key place, as Gillian Davis as well. You can look me up there.
Awesome.
In either of those places. So.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. And yeah, we'll have to schedule part 3. Yeah, I think there's a whole myriad of things we can go into. Maybe what we'll do, we'll go into our kind of mailbag of the main questions, and we can do like a Q&A type styly. Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. And let's talk again soon.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. Bye-bye.